What's good, everybody? Pete here at Spawn Fly Fish. As you can see, a little sunburnt, a little scruffy, and you know why? Because the fish we've been catching this week have been so bright. And so, not scruffy, but shaggy is coming at you. Grab your vise, let's have some fun. Alright, in the vise today, we have the Ahrex SA280, size 10. Pretty small, perfect for the searun cutthroat. So let me get some thread started. Got some tan 6/0 uni, nothing crazy. 140 of any kind would work. And we'll try to make this quick and painless. A lot of stuff going on with this fly. Of course, you're probably familiar with the peach bum, which is now the beach bum. And then we did the nightmare bum. And now we got Shaggy Bum. And this thing is nasty. In the water, it looks like something I would eat for sure. And the fish happen to agree. So just got some easy shrimp eyes here. And even though it's a size 10, this is going to be an articulated fly. So the overall length is going to be, of course, significantly bigger. And that's why we'll go with the size medium eye versus extra small. So really get that tied in as well as possible. And we're just going to get ready to jump on into this thing. So I'm going to make a loop with my thread and get it ready. 1, 2, 3 times around and bring it back up and secure. Now that loop is moving exactly nowhere. And that's what I want. So for this loop, we're going to start with some Shaggy Dub in tan. So I'm going to slip that into this loop and hopefully keep it parallel to the ground for now so I don't lose all that good stuff. And then we're going to follow it up with a double stack. So to begin the stack, I've got some spot prawn Simi seal here from Spawn Fly Fish. Underneath that, I've got some more Spawn Simi seal in ghost shrimp. Now this is ghost shrimp regular, it's non-UV. And the reason? Well, because I like the color. The UV is great. When we fished this last week, the water was pretty clear. The fish had no issues seeing the fly, so visibility wasn't a factor. And I just didn't need that extra flash or bling from that UV. And this fly was hot. So of course, until it's broken, I'm in no need to fix it again, if you will. So let's get this brushed out. Nothing crazy here. I'll try to show you what this finished little dub loop looks like here. And there we go. So this is what I'm going to be wrapping for this front portion. Alright, like any other loop, just going to coax those materials over the back end here so that as I wrap, everything is going to flow nice and even off that back side, covering up those eyes and leading into what becomes a nasty little ghosty looking shrimp. There we go. And that spot prawn is a really great color for creating that orange portion of the ghost shrimp. Steelhead torch works really well. Any of that. So there we go. End of that first loop. Nothing to it. Get that tied off. And we're going to take that tag end, bring it back over itself, and then tie down again. So no matter what, no matter how many toothy critters get a hold of this thing, that loop cannot come undone. And as you see, it's a little messy here. And that's exactly what we like. So get that all go in the proper direction, and voila, time for whip finish. So not too bad. Already halfway through this sucker. One whip finish. Let's throw in a second. There we go. Trim off that tag. At this point, come back in with a brush, and for this I'm using the Stonefo stainless brush. About as good as it gets for doing that ungrateful, thankless job of brushing stuff out. Get it all moving the right direction. You can see we're getting a little shrimpy here, and I like it. Very shaggy, and I'm a fan. So are the cutthroat, so keep that in mind. When this is in the water and saturated and all that. Of course, it slicks down. Hydrodynamic movement, if you will, from this shrimp pattern, all that good stuff. But what you really need to know, what's really important, is that the fish love it. Alright, so we were fishing some tidally influenced water for sure, and when you're fishing that water versus completely fresh water, it pays to be mindful of what they might be accustomed to seeing. They're going to be seeing more shrimp and different things like that, so it just makes sense to throw a shrimp pattern. So I'm going to slip on a shank here, and this is the Spawn micro jig shank 60 degree, and then I've got the Spawn slotted tungsten football bead size 7mm in peach. So let me pop this out and we will get this situated back in the vise like so, and just get that tied down. There we go. Alright, so at this point I'm going to take that hook back off. I'll show you why here in a second. So we've got some non-lead or lead-free 0.025, and I want 6 wraps. There's 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to trim that out, and we'll solidify the positioning of this bead. And at that point I'll slip the hook back on and tie the arm down. So give me 2 seconds here, round over that cut edge, and it's a little bit long, so I'm going to crimp it again, and I'm going to shove that in like so, and then make sure my arm comes down. That's just where I want it. So I'll trim that back portion, round over with my scissor, and this is just so I could start that thread. I don't have to worry about cutting it on that back side, any of that good stuff. So hook back onto the shank. Be mindful, we're fishing a jig shank, so we want that hook point up. Now we'll get our thread started. I'm just going to start right behind those wire wraps, and then I'm going to force that thread under and back. So you see I'm still under the arm, so that when I do come up, just follow forward and it's a simple tie down. And just make sure you keep that little shrimp head out of the way for now. After we get some material in the next loop, that'll be a non-issue. Typically when I'm tying at this point, I would have the number 1 head from Stomfo in here. But for the sake of the video, there's less vertical movement as I turn the rotary, and it makes it easier for us to track with that camera. There we go. Nothing to it so far. At this point, yes, you could add some crazy elements, put some extra rubber legs and all that. I can tell you this version, nobody asked for legs. They just ate it. So, no legs. So again, we'll close that loop 3 times around, bring it back up, and then that's going nowhere. And there's that head one more time. Alright, as far as the material going into this loop, we're going to follow this up with some more ghost shrimp Spawn Simi seal. So let me get a little bit of that tossed into this loop. And there's my stack. So about 1.5 inches height wise on that. And then the fun part. Now we've got a small section of crosscut rabbit. So this is tan, and I'm just putting it as is right into that loop, just like any other material. Let me throw in my spinner. I'm going to make sure I catch that rabbit and close the loop. So before I start spinning, however, I've got to get rid of that leather. So this is the easiest way I know without getting into material clamps and all that. If you don't have that available, this is how you do it. Come in very carefully, trim out that leather. Done. So now I can slide that hair up, meet the Simi seal, scoot it out so that it's going to be a little bit long, which is just what I want. And this stuff flows and breathes and moves in the water, and it just, the movement alone is enough to get fish interested and bring them over to you. Well, then it's up to you to finish that movement with a little strip, and a little, maybe even a rod tip action, just to get a little movement back into that fly again, and hold on tight. Alright, so spun this up, brushed it out, or we're brushing it out. That head is definitely moving. So if you're wondering if this fly moves a lot, the answer is yes. Alright. goodness, all those loose fibers, don't need them. They're going to come out if you leave them in, so best to get them out now. And that leaves you a nicer looking fly. And then we'll just pull that spinner right out before we even wrap anything. That's a good start. There we go. No damage, no harm. I've got one piece of that shaggy dub. There we go. Just in the wrong spot. So let's get this first turn and then everything should stay in position. And we're going to coax again all those fibers to the back with every single touch, meaning before I take any wrap, I am coaxing those fibers with my off hand, and by the time we get to that bead, this is going to be chock full of goodness. Just keep filling her in there, and we've got another wrapper and a half, and we'll be done with this fly. So there's the half, and tie off with our thread. Catch it a couple times, get rid of that dubbing twister. This is the Griffith dubbing twister, or Griffin, and then really tie down well on that loop and trim out like so. Alright, at this point, absolutely continue brushing any trapped fibers that may have come from wrapping that noodle or that loops, and just brush them out quickly. And, there we go. Now, channel your inner Bob Ross. You brush that out until you're happy. Don't worry about what other people tell you. This is for you, for the fish. And whip finish time. There we go. One. And one more. Beauty. Cut out that thread. And time for some head cement. Now, where you're fishing, if you're anywhere near that salty water, tidally influenced, brackish, full-on salt, whatever it might be, you're going to know the coloration of your prey items. Go ahead, utilize that information, and tie this in the color that you're seeing. So you might have grass shrimp and a little bit of a greener tone, clearer tones, all that good stuff, darker browns. They're all going to be great. It's this movement that the fish just love. So there you have it. That is the Shaggy Bum, which is a shrimp pattern designed to put a hurt on all these sea-run coastal cutthroat. Hope you guys enjoy. I hope you tie a bunch of these, because boy do they work. But if you have fun watching this, by all means, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and we will see you guys on the water.